What is up? Today we want to share with you some highlights from our SyncFest session with music supervisors Emoni Matthews and Gabe McDonough. It was an awesome time. Check it out. Welcome, guys. Emoni Matthews and Gabe McDonough. Thank you both for being here and taking time out on a Saturday with all of us.
Gabe, actually, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
In your experience, what are the qualities or characteristics that make a song particularly attractive for an ad campaign?
The biggest piece of advice is listen to what you hear in places you hear brands connecting with music. That might be what they're doing on Instagram. Everybody here should be paying attention to that. It's going to give you some clues. In general, stuff's got to be short and zippy. We used to think it was short that ads were 30 seconds. You see pre-roll, it's 4 seconds. You're just waiting to skip. It's got to come in super compelling, but then it's also somehow kind of got to build, and just kind of keep building to infinity. Generally, it's things that are up tempo. It's things that are playing in popular culture. There's a sound to hip hop that gets used in ads. So the hip hop that they use in ads moves differently. It's got to be able to work on an instrumental level without the key thing to hip hop, which is the voice, right? Generally positive things that are quirky in a way. Advertisers love when you put whoa, I didn't expect to hear a fiddle in there. Kind of cross genre.
Emoni, let's talk about mentorship.
To be honest, I wouldn't be here without my mentors. My first internship was at Paramount Pictures. Did great there. They loved me. I went back to school and they told me, you're coming back. Everything's going to be great. This new HR person calls me and they're like, oh, actually, we went with someone else. So I was like, what am I going to do? So one of my mentors, he basically introduced me to Jeff Gray and John Anderson, who does Honey Pot. Yeah, we're looking for an intern over the summer. And I was like, cool, I'll take it. I went there for the summer. And I met a ton of people. These people were all in this music supervision publishing world. And I had no idea this exists. When I met all these people, I was like, wow, I really love this type of community. Mentorship was everything. And then as I moved forward with inside of my career, they knew certain people. They're like, yeah, give her an interview. She's great. That's how I got at Extreme. And I really believe in passing the torch, because without that, I don't think that I would know as much as I do or be in the space that I am. My first female mentor was Gwen Riley. She's over at Disney right now. She really was helping me navigate just the trajectory that I had, and being an executive so fast with inside of my career. It really was helpful. So I think mentorship is just exactly what people need, especially when you're trying to navigate this world.
What would be your recommendation? What would be the various outlets that they can interject themselves into a community of sync professionals and collaborators?
The great thing is now we do have these resources here, Zoom calls and conferences and stuff like that, so that you can kind of educate yourself and link with people and have side chats and just really network with inside of this 491 people that are here right now. But I always tell people to do targeted visits, look up what's happening in LA, go ahead and do your invites for meetings and set up lunches, and then come out here and have a game plan and just actually network and be with inside of the space, and then go back home. You don't have to move here to actually be with inside of the community. You just have to make yourself seen in the most respectful way as possible.
You have this instant, you're a music person? Cool. It's like being at summer camp. The friendships I've kind of made along the way doing business, it's not even down to just people I've met at things like this. That's kind of my favorite part about this whole business. So yeah, of course, it's important to everybody be generous with your time, be generous with your expertise. And I think we all try to be. Don't get hung up on that though, because it's you who's going to do it. It's that same positive mindset. If you're an artist and you're like, well, if I could just get a label, then it's going to happen. And it's not going to happen until I get a label. Or if I could just get a mentor, then it's going to happen. Blast ahead. Your community will kind of find you. Talk and learn from as many people as you can. And you'll find, the people who are on your vibe. Not everybody's going to be on your wavelength. You'll find the kind of people in your community who are. Focus on those small people. It's like that idea that it's more efficient to work on the things you're already good at and be the best at that. This other 80% needs work, so I'm going to spend all my time there. No, just focus in on the people that you're close to already and really see what you can get cooking there, get some fires going there, and then build it out from there.
You hit on something awesome, actually, Gabe, that I'd like to go into a little deeper. One of the things that I think Jody and I hear a lot when it comes to reaching out to the decision makers and the folks in the sync professionals, that's where they get caught up. They have that fear of rejection, and they have the fear of the approach and the fear of connecting with them. I think that part of the process is actually the most fun. It's been my experience in the sync community that everyone in the sync community is just freaking awesome. Good people. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter matter how old you are, whatnot. I feel like that's one of the most fun parts of the sync space. I know a lot of independent musicians are very fearful of connecting.
In my business, I'm constantly doing reaching out to people, doing sales to people and advertising. Hey, use my company for music supervision, and so I'm doing that same thing. The key to this thing is to just keep going, right? Keep trying and like to have enough gas in the tank to feel positive and want to do it. The way that I've found to do that is just like, who's working on a project that I'm actually interested in? Because then it's like easy conversation. You're just like, yo, I love this movie that you did. I love that song. Do you know that artist? I got the first 45 that they ever did. And that comes through. Start there. Start trying to connect with those people that you're actually like really passionate versus, trying to be like Russian classical music. That's not really my bag, but I should cover my bases here and reach out to this person. Start with where it's fun. Because then if they don't write back, you're like, yeah, but I still got to geek out about the thing that I'm into. And that was a fun email to write.
Let's talk a little bit more about outreach. What percentage would you say around would you reach out direct to artists versus going to somebody who's a trusted resource like a library or a sync agent?
We go to trusted resources. And I'm only speaking about this because it was a learning lesson for me on how the inside people are thinking, because I'm just starting to coordinate and music supervise and all that good stuff. And it's exciting because I now get to introduce newer catalogs and newer trusted resources to these major networks that they went to their regulars, their extremes, their APMs and all this other stuff. And I'm like, wait, we can get way more affordable music with some of these people who are working with indie artists. So there are allies to the indie artists that are within inside of the scenes. A percentage of them going direct to the artist, unless a director is like, you know what, this is it. This is a hit, they're probably going to go to their trusted resources.
Unless there's a director saying, yeah, I want to work with this artist. As we work with composers specifically, we're more open to like, okay, cool. Here's a new composer. Is this somebody we might want to work with? So that's where we get the work more directly with artists. I try to listen to stuff that people sent me. It's just when it comes down to like, it's just not feasible to go out to 100 different people when you can go to one person who has access to hundreds of thousands of people.
Let's talk about a song or an artist that unexpectedly became the perfect fit for a project that you were working on or an exciting collaboration you did with an artist.
On a smaller level where there were a couple artists who had just emailed me a song and it ended up working out and ended up in some ads and they got relicensed over the years. Kathy Heller, who's not even in this business anymore, but that was somebody who had sent me a song. And then a few years later, she got a spot in McDonald's commercial. The artist Santa Gold was somebody who I put in a Bud Light Lime commercial when her career was just starting off. It was kind of an unexpected thing. There's a Brazilian psychedelic group called Os Mutantes, who I put in a McDonald's commercial. Who would have thought that McDonald's would use Portuguese lyrics in an American commercial? It's just about lightning striking, right? Like something unexpected kind of sparks the picture sometimes. You want to think about sync. Things that you're doing for your career as an artist overall are also going to help you in sync. And the things that you do for sync are going to help you in your career as an artist overall. And then as you write for sync, I've seen this a million times with artists, is they write a song for sync, it doesn't go anywhere with sync, then they release it. And guess what? That song that they wrote to be catchy for an ad is actually catchy for people to listen to.
My company does like sync camps. Everyone who comes is vetted. Everybody who is there is on the same accord. They sign their agreements before they even enter the doors. And it's like really a nice vibe because you get to be creative without worrying about all the business side. And you know that the music is going into the catalog. Our first one, the theme was like big music for like sports and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh yes, this is a Target ad. This is for X, Y, and Z. And I'm pitching and I'm pitching and pitching. And the thing that actually got it was like an ABC Forum, Everything's Trash ad. I had no idea about this show. I just put this song out for like one of my newsletters, and then now it's an ad. It was everyone's first placement and it was an ad. That's what I kind of live for. They're like, oh, wow, like an ad. And I'm like, yeah, for like 6 weeks. And this is how much it is each week. And they're like, what? And I'm like, those are the moments that I really like. And those are the surprising moments where it's just like, yeah, we just had this idea to actually have a camp. We did the camp, we started pitching the music, and it actually started like going crazy, the ones that we released. So those are like my moments, my surprise moments for me.
It seems like one of the keys that you guys are stating is the authenticity of just creating music and not trying to game the system.
When we do our camps, we make sure that the people who we choose are the people who does the style that we are going after. after, so that we can make sure that it's authentic and it feels good. And I teach people to utilize sync as basically like their job. Their job helps their artistry. If you do a sync camp and you spend your time to make 3 or 4 songs, the revenue from those songs can help you do your marketing and everything else for your artistry, for your career. I have artists who are bubbling right now and they're like, I don't know if I should do sync music. And I'm like, I don't know why not. That's the only way you're going to get paid in this industry right now. The clearest way to get paid is sync. I just try to teach that to my artists and it creates some great music.
Steering more towards the production quality now, what are some of the elements that immediately make you bypass that song and move on to another one?
Heavy auto-tune. I kind of be like, at least my clients don't really like a lot of auto-tune.
It's not even about personal taste. For whatever reason, that frequency of autotune battles with the dialogue. It's like what I was saying about hip hop. If it's just a loop and it doesn't go anywhere for 30 seconds, perfect world, sync music and great music, there's some crossover. The advice that you give for sync music, it's not the advice that you would give necessarily for somebody trying to write a great 4-minute song.
A hit song, right.
Hip hop does sound great when it's got a 16-bar loop and it's just people rapping over it as a song. The biggest thing though is when I work with quote unquote real artists and they're doing something for sync, I think they kind of toss it off a little bit and they think, oh, this is easy. Like, you don't understand what this community of people, how they operate. Like every demo that we get is mastered. That's how good the production quality has to be. Our writers will turn that around and like, these are people who are writing for Mad Decent. Like these are people who are writing for big pop artists. That's the level of production that you need to have and that people expect because you're competing.
If you're going to be in a show and we have a major artist queued up first, and then we have your song queued up after, it can't just be cheesy. It has to be on the same level mastered wise.
It doesn't matter if it's technically mastered or not. It just has to sound mastered. It has to be able to come on after a weekend track and people be like, yeah, okay.
So you don't want to be that person that you can tell this is kind of like sounds library-ish, you know?
And on a production side, that's just as simple as when you're mixing your song in your studio and your song sounds like AC/DC's Back in Black, or it's stylistically the same, play Back in Black through your speakers and then play your mix. Your mix should be on par.
We listen to a lot of music. So if you're not listening, you got to listen, compare your track, compare your mixes, compare your drums, compare your guitars. You got to really tune your ears and listen. That's the only way to hone that craft.
For advertising, the instrumental should be able to stand on its own.
The best thing to do is start listening to TV. Stop watching it, start listening to it. When a commercial comes on, don't go to the bathroom. Listen to commercials. Listen to how music is utilized in a commercial. You can look at specific artists that have had tremendous sync careers because they had such a unique sound. No one sounds like M83, right? The things that you lack in can become your strengths.
It sets you apart, right? Because that's the
definitely.
hardest thing. Being set apart, that's like what everybody's trying to do because everybody's got a media channel. The thing that might seem weird or bad, no one else is going to do that. So that's what makes you you, and that's what makes you not an algorithm and not an AI. You know what I mean? And that's going to become more important.
I've heard the expression, don't fix it, feature it.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. Think about how many weird, famous vocalists there are. Like so many, 1 million vocalists.
Good place to start for a beginning musician just getting into sync.
Look where the opportunity is, right? Like, so do you know anybody? First of all, yeah, you just got to write songs, right? And that's how I had a band that got some syncs on Sons of Anarchy. And that just came from me being like watching the pilot, seeing all this expensive blues rock in there. And I was playing in a blues rock band. There's no way they can afford this for the rest of the year. I didn't have a publishing deal or anything, but I happened to know somebody at a publisher. And I was like, hey, do you know the music supervisors on Sons of Anarchy? And then I ended up getting some songs on there, right? So where's the opportunity? You know, but can't do anything unless you have the songs. So make the songs.
You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for spending the day with us. How about a round of applause for our guests?
Everybody. Thanks for spending the time.
Gabe, Emoni, you guys, of course, are welcome to hang around, but you're free to go. Enjoy your days and your day, your weekend. Thank you guys both very much.
So much. Enjoy the day.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome, yes.
If you would like to join a thriving community of elite sync professionals dedicated to ensuring each other's success in sync licensing, then Elite Music Coaching invites you to join Sync Titan.
That's right. And inside this community, you're going to have opportunities to connect directly with sync professionals like music supervisors, sync agents, and music library reps in our monthly virtual meetup and networking events. You're going to be able to get coaching directly from Jody and myself. We have listening sessions. And we also have meetups where you can connect with other collaborators all throughout the world.
Also, we post opportunities for you to submit your music to films, TV shows, trailers, commercials, video games, podcasts, web series, and more. As a Sync Titan member, you're also eligible to receive a Sync Titan award.
So make sure to click the link below or above or to the side or wherever it is on this channel so that you can learn more about Sync Titan and how you can become a valued member of this community.